Hey guys, it's Stephanie and welcome back to my channel and welcome to day 7 of Vlogmas. It is 4:58 a.m. I am dressed for the day, if you could even call it that. I'm just in sweatpants and a sweatshirt, but I'm getting ready to go pick Hope up to take her to the airport to go home to California for the holidays. Just in case anyone is worried about that, she is definitely being as safe as possible, which is why I am driving her to just help limit her further exposure on the way home. I have to leave in about 15 minutes to pick her up. I did just eat a cookie because I just don't know what I want to eat for breakfast. Like, I'm not hungry yet, but I wanted to get something in my body for the day, so I ate one of the cookies I made the other day. Anyway, now I'm just rambling. I will check in with you guys when I get back from the airport. It's a little after 6 o'clock right now. I just got back home. Hope so kindly brought me some leftover latkes from her Instagram live she did the other day, and she made bagels and brought me one. So I'm super excited to eat that for breakfast in a little bit. But now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to get back into bed and I'm gonna watch a little bit of TV for a little bit, I think, because I don't want to actually do anything yet. Like, I don't want to start schoolwork this early in the morning. Am I the only person, though, I was talking about this with Hope, who like weirdly loves waking up this early in the morning with the purpose of just like easing into my day and being up like before the rest of the world? Because like, I don't love getting up this early when like I have to go to clinical and stuff, but I love getting up this early just to kind of like lounge around and ease into my day very nicely. So I don't know, could just be me, but I'm gonna take advantage of this time. I'm gonna bring my laptop into bed. I'm gonna lie down and watch some TV until the sun rises, and then I'll get up and actually start my day. Hey guys, so it is 8:45 now, so it's been a little bit. I went to Starbucks today because they did a Cyber Monday deal where if you ordered a drink on Cyber Monday through the app, they sent you a coupon for a free drink to use sometime this week. So I figured that the morning that I woke up at 4:30 would be the appropriate morning to go redeem my drink. And so I got something a little bit bougie, to be completely honest with you guys, since it was free. So in case you're curious, my usual order is a decaf peppermint white mocha with non-fat milk, hot or iced. I do both, but with non-fat milk and decaf. Because of my anxiety, I try not to drink too much caffeine anymore because that was a really big trigger for me. We're gonna talk about my anxiety in a second. That's why I'm sitting here with my coffee. We're gonna have a little coffee chat. But today, to make my drink a little bit bougier, I got a grande iced peppermint white mocha. I got half decaf because I need a little bit of a boost today because I'm tired. Non-fat milk. I did light ice because it's 30 degrees outside and I just don't need anything that cold. But the reason why I got it iced is because instead of whipped cream, I got the vanilla sweet cream cold foam, which you usually have to pay an extra $1 for. Like, this drink was $6.25, which is nuts to me. I would never pay that on my own, which is why I wanted to try the cold foam today. I've yet to ever try the cold foam. I drank some on my way back here, so it's actually really good. If you're looking for something kind of bougie or something to use your stars on, this is it. Like I said, I did want to kind of sit down and chat mental health and anxiety and depression and stuff with you guys today because, especially now that I'm vlogging literally every day for Vlogmas, I don't want to not acknowledge mental health because it literally is such a big part of my everyday life. And, you know, back earlier this semester when I was really struggling, I wasn't in a place where I could talk about it on the internet because it felt too scary, and I don't even think I was really fully grasping it all at the time. But now looking back, I've been able to do a lot of reflecting on that time, and I feel much more comfortable talking about it now. And the whole reason why I started my channel was to share my journey of being in nursing school and everything that comes with nursing school and my life and everything. But anxiety is part of my life, you know, and if I, by sharing my experience with mental health, can help someone else who's in a similar situation feel better or gain better coping strategies or just feel less alone, then I've done what I came on the internet to do. So I apologize in advance if these clips are a little choppy. When I'm going through this and editing, I would imagine that I'm gonna have to cut chunks out, either because I'm not making sense or whatever. You know, I'm just kind of gonna chat and share my experience, and I hope to do so in a clear and concise way, but I might not be able to necessarily do that on my first shot. Cheers, let's chat mental health. I guess also I should put out a little bit of a trigger warning for this. You know, I am going to talk about anxiety, panic attacks, depression, stuff like that. So if you think that that might be triggering to you, please click out of this video. I will not be offended, but if you think it might help you in some way, please continue on. So I guess to start from the beginning, I have had anxiety since I was in 8th grade. I am now 23 years old, so it's been like 10 years struggling with anxiety. Some days are better than others. Some years were better than others. In undergrad was the first time I ever went to therapy. I started going my junior year of college, and it really did help me. And I went all through junior year and for the semester that I was in school senior year before I graduated, moving into, you know, starting at my accelerated nursing program. I really do think I coped well with my anxiety for the first like half of the program. And because, you know, I'd been dealing with it for so long, I thought that I knew how to deal with it really well. And I had started going back to therapy in the first fall semester. So last year, I started going back to therapy because I thought that it would benefit me to continue to talk to someone throughout the nursing program and with whatever came after the nursing program, because obviously being in an accelerated nursing program is stressful. Being a nurse is stressful, and this was pre-pandemic. I found a therapist here in Philly. She was not my favorite. It's hard to find a therapist. When everything shut down and everything went virtual, I continued to see her virtually for a little bit. And then in the summer around June, I just really hit kind of a wall with her, and I didn't feel like I was making any progress. I actually felt like I was more anxious sometimes after meeting with her every week, and I just really was unhappy with my situation. So I stopped seeing her and switched to the therapist that I'm currently seeing now, who I love. She's wonderful. So that can be a whole nother story about my experience with therapy, but basically what I really want to highlight on is this past semester and everything that has happened since COVID. It is so normal to not feel normal during COVID. It is normal to be anxious about the state of the world because we're in the middle of a pandemic, and that's scary. It's normal to feel depressed because you're not really out socializing like you usually did, or at least you shouldn't be out socializing like you usually did. You're not able to travel. You might not be able to see your family as much as you used to because you're far away from them. And it's weird. It's a weird time. It's not a normal time. It's okay to be feeling depressed or anxious or even just sad during this time. That is normal. You know, even people without mood disorders or anxiety disorders can feel anxious or depressed during this time, and it doesn't mean that you are any less of a person or any weaker than anyone else. That being said, by the time I started seeing this new therapist, pandemic was in full force. I was living alone for the first time ever in my life in my studio apartment, and things were weird. My anxiety was getting worse because of the pandemic. I was afraid to go places. I was afraid to drive and leave the apartment. Like, I was so anxious all the time. And that carried on throughout the summer, but it was a tolerable level of anxiety for me. You know, it was worse than my anxiety had been in like high school and college, but still a tolerable level. So, you know, we went through coping strategies, mindfulness techniques, etc., and that worked for the time being. But then the end of August rolled around and it was time to get ready to start the semester again. And we were going to be in person for clinical and potentially simulation lab. And that was stressful for me. You know, I had been out of clinical and not in a hospital setting for 6 months at the time, because the last time I was in a hospital was March. And especially in pediatrics, I hadn't been in pediatrics for a whole year. I was really nervous that I wasn't gonna know what to do, that I was gonna have lost all of my skills, that I wasn't even gonna remember anything, you know, like it was really scary for me. And of course it was scary for my friends too, who don't have anxiety disorders. You know, they were anxious about starting clinical again, especially in the middle of the pandemic. So I ended up on the oncology floor, which, as you guys know, is what I wanted to be on. I wanted to be on that floor. That was really what I thought I wanted to do with my life. And I was excited when I got placed on the oncology floor. When I feel super anxious, I get super nauseous. And that is, you know, a normal physical symptom of anxiety. It was normal for me to feel nauseous. That has always been how my anxiety has presented. And because of that, and because of just like other things in my life, I had become very afraid of throwing up. I knew going on to the oncology floor that a lot of the kids would be throwing up. Unfortunately, that's just part of cancer and cancer treatment, is they get sick. I didn't realize how severe my anxiety would get being around kids throwing up all the time. They were throwing up way more than I ever imagined that they would, to be honest with you. They were sicker than I ever imagined. And while that made me anxious, I was already so anxious at baseline that I just could not cope with being around other people throwing up, because I was so afraid that watching them throw up or hearing them throw up would make me throw up as well. I also just want to acknowledge that, yes, I'm in nursing school, and I understand that being a nurse sometimes comes with being around people throwing up. Every nurse has something that grosses them out. You know, everyone has their thing that they don't like, but power through anyway, or choose a specialty in which they don't have to deal with it. I really thought that I could power through. I never imagined that my fear of vomiting would turn into a full-blown phobia of vomiting. Like, to be completely honest, I never thought that that would happen. If I thought that would happen, I would have never picked the oncology floor for my clinical rotation and exposed myself to that. I was, of course, incredibly anxious for my first day of clinical. I had, at that time, a prescription for Xanax. I was taking Xanax before clinical. My clinical instructors knew, everyone knew that I was taking it before clinical. I ended up getting so anxious being in clinical on top of everything else in the world that I was making myself sick every morning before a clinical, even on the days that I took the Xanax. I would be in my bathroom getting sick, or I would have walked out of my apartment door and was getting sick. Since I developed the phobia of getting sick, it was miserable for me. I was barely eating because I was afraid of getting sick. I was barely sleeping because I was just so anxious all the time that I could not calm down enough to fall asleep, let alone fall asleep peacefully. You know, there was a point there where I didn't sleep for like 3 days very well. Like I got maybe like 8 hours of sleep across the 3 days. And the only way I would fall asleep if I had friends on the TV or on my iPad in the background. I don't think I realized how bad it was at the time, you know, because I was in therapy. I had started seeing a psychiatrist to get on a more like long-term daily medication, and like I really just thought that I was coping, you know. I was like, yeah, this is miserable, but I'm fine. Like, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. Literally the day I started my new daily anxiety medication, I had a panic attack because I was so freaking overwhelmed with all the anxiety I was feeling all the time that I just literally, my body just like rebelled against me and was like, you need to stop. By that point, I was so anxious that I was depressed. Like, part of why I didn't want to eat or sleep either is because I just wasn't interested in doing anything. Like, I didn't want to go anywhere. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to leave my apartment. I didn't even want to go to Orange Theory. I didn't want to go to the grocery store. I was not in a good place. And that is when I decided to drop the class that was associated with the clinical rotation. They were all very kind about it. They were all very supportive. I started on my daily medication and I felt like crap. It is such a unique experience to be on a medication that's supposed to make you less anxious, but having it take weeks to actually make you less anxious, and during those weeks you feel worse than you did beforehand. And I don't mean my anxiety was worse, I mean I was tired. There was one specific day where I could not sit on the couch because I just felt like I was gonna fall over. I spent like 2 weeks feeling like I was just gonna tip over at any second. I was so off balance. I was dizzy. I was tired. I was still anxious during all of that as well. And as my anxiety had gotten worse, I was also experiencing chest pain, shortness of breath, heart palpitations, all of that stuff. So all of that stuff was still there. The nausea was still there, but now I was also feeling tired and dizzy and just like I was in a fog, like unable to focus on anything. It was really, really hard. As with what is supposed to happen with the type of medication that I'm on, you know, those side effects go away and then you start to feel the relief. You know, it's all about your body balancing out to the new levels of hormones and stuff in your body, basically, and the chemicals in your brain balancing out. That is part of the reason why I went home, is because I was weaning on to this medication and I felt like crap. I was afraid to be alone because at that point I was depressed from how anxious I was, and I was afraid of what I would do if I was left alone for too long. And you know, living alone was a trigger in and of itself for me when I started to get really anxious, because I just was afraid something was going to happen to me while I was here alone. So that is why I went home. As I started to feel better, that is why I came back, because I thought it was important to resensitize myself to being in this environment again with a new, clear mindset. And I started going to therapy twice a week instead of just once. I've been meeting with my psychiatrist to discuss dosing and work on dosing to find my perfect dose, or maybe not even my perfect dose, but a working dose where the benefits outweigh the side effects that I have. I feel like myself again. And I don't want to get emotional about this. I get emotional enough about it in therapy and everything, but I was in such a dark place 2 months ago. And if you had told me that this is how I would feel 2 months later, I wouldn't have believed you, because I was so miserable and I could not find a way to make it better for myself. And I mean, I'm grateful for the people in my life who were so supportive of me and so helpful to me. You know, I'm grateful, you know, for Hope, who slept here in my apartment with me the night I had a panic attack because I was literally afraid I was gonna die. And she stayed here and slept here in my apartment and checked on me every 45 minutes to make sure I was still alive. You know, like, I'm so lucky to have those people in my life who would do that for me, you know. And even just in talking to my therapist and seeing people on Instagram share their stories about anxiety and depression, it just makes me feel less alone, and that makes me feel better, because for the longest time when I was struggling that badly, even though I knew it was anxiety and I knew I wasn't the only one in the world with anxiety, I felt so alone, because only I could hear what was going on in my head and feel what I was feeling physically in my body because of how bad my anxiety was. I hope that from hearing my story that it helps you, or if you personally don't struggle with mental health, then it helps you understand what someone else in your life might be going through and how you can better help them. You know, just being around for them is what you can do. You know, you can be there, you can listen to them when they share their worries with you, and you can be that supportive person who helps validate their feelings, but also helps calm them down when they're really overwhelmed. You know, the best thing you can do, in my opinion, I'm not, you know, a licensed therapist or anything, the best thing you can do is, if you are around someone in your life who is having really bad anxiety, just ask how you can help. You know, say, what can I help you do right now? You know, sometimes it was as simple as, you know, my mom grabbing me an ice cube from the freezer just so I could hold on to it, because that would help me calm down, you know. But I didn't have to get up to get the ice cube for myself. It was one less thing I had to worry about doing, and I could focus on my breathing and focus on the ice cube and calm myself down. I hope that we can continue this conversation on my channel and in the comment section below. You know, I appreciate all the support that I got on my original video talking about this, and I would like to keep that same mentality into this video and future videos as well. I want my channel to be a place where we can openly discuss mental health and talk about strategies. And you know, I talk about the fact that I'm in therapy and I have a psychiatrist. You know, I don't keep any of that a secret from you guys. And, you know, I talk about it a lot over on Instagram as well. So make sure you're following me over there. I feel like I post a lot of good resources and share a lot of resources and quotes and things that I find that are really helpful to me. So I hope that they can be helpful to some of you as well. I'm gonna sit down and relax for a little bit. I have therapy in about 45 minutes, and I will talk to you guys a little bit later. Also, a quick pin candle update. You can start to see the little pin package in there. So hopefully before I go home for winter break, I'll be able to melt this down enough that I can see what's in there. Okay, so it's a little bit later. It is 12:15 right now. I'm getting hungry, so I'm gonna make some lunch. I have my pan preheating. I'm gonna make some of the Trader Joe's shrimp gyozas that I made last week for lunch. I think I made some of them, but I'm gonna make some more of them today. But I was melting my candle, and when I blew it out, this was loose enough to pull out. So let's see what it is. Oh my God, no way. Oh my God, Amy Beth, are you watching? I think this is one she has. Amy Beth used to collect these when we worked in Disney. Hold on, I'm gonna rinse it off so I can get into it. It is covered in wax, but this is one of the Hidden Mickey cast member pins. It's like the costume of one of the cast members. I forget which one this is exactly. So that is super fun. Now I have one too. I have also just been studying since my last little update. Also have been watching a little bit of YouTube in the meantime, just trying to balance it out. But after I eat lunch, I'm gonna do at least two lectures for my advanced patho class. I have finished all of the renal lectures. I ended up doing 3 of them. So now I'm moving on to some work study stuff, and we've transitioned YouTube onto the TV. I decided to heat up a frozen meal for dinner because I just could not be bothered to make anything. And I'm starting episode 3 of The Undoing. That's what I ended up watching this morning because everyone is like hypes it up so much. So no spoilers, please. I should probably finish this sometime tomorrow for being realistic. And then I'm trying to figure out what I want to order for tomorrow. I kind of like am in the mood to order like breakfast tomorrow, but I don't know. That was a lot of detail for no reason, but just wanted to check in since it's been a little bit. I did finish studying for today though, so I made a lot of progress. All I have left to do is I have to go through one more lecture for my test on Wednesday and do just the GI lectures is all I have left. So I really made a lot of progress today. So I just took a magic eraser to my Air Force Ones because it was bothering me how dirty they had gotten. I feel like they look pretty good. I can't really get the inside much cleaner, so I'll have to figure out how to do that because they were kind of gray to begin with because of the style of the shoe, but I think it turned out pretty well. The laces didn't come out super clean though. I'm gonna have to like soak them in detergent or something, but that's what I just spent the past like 20 minutes doing. It is 7:30 right now. I'm gonna end off this vlog here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. Tomorrow's video will be my gift guide for him, so no new vlog tomorrow, but as with the last gift guide, if something exciting does happen tomorrow, I will vlog it and just add it into the next day's Vlogmas. So you won't miss anything, but I will see you in my next one. Bye. Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Jingle bells swing and jingle bells ring. Snowing and blowing up those shoes.